Thank you very much, Billy. I've been given the task of trying to frame where we are. Right now, somewhere in Africa, you can rest assured there's a delegation of international consultants who are knocking on the door of a mayor in some city somewhere saying, you sign a contract with us and we will build you a new city. And that city will have skyscrapers, fountains, and will look like the best city you've seen anywhere, and they'll say that is a world-class city. We know that the challenge is a whole lot more complex. The question then is, how are we, as the Cities Alliance, going to respond to the enormous challenge? And we all know the magnitude of that challenge. So the Cities Alliance has what we loosely call the Africa Strategy. And at the heart of the Africa Strategy is, how do we make a difference in meeting this urbanization challenge in Africa? The strategy has 4 essential elements to it. For any strategy to work, for any strategy to make a difference, you have to have a constituency of change. What we have in this room today is 9 countries. But not only 9 countries, we have North Africa, we have South Africa, we have West Africa, we have Central Africa. We have Francophone Africa, Lusophone Africa, Anglophone Africa. We have in this room today mayors. We have mayors from metropolitan cities, we have mayors from secondary cities, we have mayors from corridor cities, we have mayors from regional capitals. We have in this room today communities. We have communities from slums throughout Africa. We have men and we have women. We have a unique constituency of change. But that constituency of change needs to be armed with a compelling narrative. And that is why we have the think tank. And the think tank's objective is to say, this is a storyline that we can make transformative change behind. But for it to be important, it needs to have a power behind it. The second key aspect of the strategy is, it's all very well saying we have a narrative, but we need to have an approach to change. And yesterday we spoke about that approach. And that approach says that for any country to deal with urbanization, they need national support, local government support, and an active citizenship. That approach needs to be bettered because we need to absolutely integrate into that approach a strong gender aspect. But we also need a third thing, and that is what the FCA has brought to the strategy. We have the power, we have an approach, but we also have rigor of analysis. We have some of the most recent research into the key topics facing Africa, on energy, on how to deliver services, on a whole range of different topics. We have at our disposal some of the most recent and up-to-date research. So now we have to turn our attention to the 4th step of the Africa Strategy. Basically, unless we demonstrate results on the ground, we will not be meeting the challenge. But we all know that the most difficult part of any process is delivering the results. But we are now in a position, I think, to start to say, how can the Cities Alliance think about what is needed for results? And we all know there are different categories of results. There are some results that happen simply by better organizing yourself, that happen by people dialoguing with each other, by doing the things that people can just do by cooperation. Those results are already coming through. But there are other results that depend on investment. There are other results that, unless you have resources, are very, very hard to achieve. Now, when I talk to you from here, I'm really just talking to you as part of a small little team based in a single office in Brussels. We are the Secretariat. We simply are a team of about, I don't even know the exact number anymore, but something like 30 people. But we are a Secretariat to a global partnership. And we have on the screen exactly who are current members of this partnership. And what you'll see is we have local authorities, we have governments, we have non-government organizations, we have multilateral organizations, we have private sector foundations, we have universities, and we have a whole range of associate members. The question then, and the challenge for the Cities Alliance is, how do we link this constituency that I described earlier with that collection of members, such that we start to say, how do we mobilize that membership in such a way that they work behind and in support of that constituency and start to really talk about the investments needed into resolving Africa's urbanization challenge. And it's essentially that, the linking between this constituency and that constituency, that the Secretariat sees as the way forward in this process. With that, I'd just like to pass on to my colleague Jamie Simpson, who will talk more about how we take this forward.